Up first, we are going to speak with Nexus IT. We have got Earl Foote and Travis Gunn joining us virtually. Grateful that they're both with us today. Earl, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. So excited to be here today, Christine. Hello to you and your audience. Thank you for having us.
Always a pleasure having you on the show. And today we have a very important topic, and we've talked about it before with you, but it seems to be more in the news recently, especially with the news that the government has had some pretty substantial data breaches. I know that it seems like almost every other day I'm getting notifications when I log on to something, whether it's my email or some other kind of account, that my password's been part of a security data breach. So there's reasons to be concerned and reasons why we can't relax. So Earl, what can we do?
Yeah, very good. Good job on prefacing this, Christine. And by all means, we realize that the topic sometimes gets redundant, but the problem is that this is a real problem that is continually escalating and it's not going away. In fact, 2020, there's been a significant amount of new breaches, new types of threats. Some statistics say that there's been as many as 36% of businesses that have had a security incident this year, which means some sort of infection or a breach of some type. Some studies say that there's been as much as a 10 times growth in security threats in 2020. Of course, the work from home type of scenario plays a big role in this, but and we want to talk a little bit more, about some of the other things that are happening, some of the types of threats out there. But you asked a specific question, Christine, and that was, what can you do? And I think that some of the most important things to think about here is you always need to be proactive. You need to be vigilant. You've got to pay attention. You need to understand what threats are out there and how those manifest themselves, how you will see them so that you don't fall prey to them. So educate yourself. If you're in a business, educate your team members. Where applicable, by all means, consult with professionals and have professionals, actively monitor your environments. I realize that for home users, that's not really an applicable scenario, but at minimum for home users, and particularly those that are working from home, you've got to educate yourself about threats, and you've got to be able to recognize them so that you don't fall prey. And you've just got to be hyper vigilant. Really keep a close eye on all that.
And Travis Gunn, you are Vice President of Business Relations at Nexus IT. So security is something that you are dealing with every single day. What is your biggest concern right now as far as security and your customers in your business?
Yep, absolutely. That's a great question. By the way, you got me on pins and needles with this wrapping paper thing, so I'm going to make sure I hang out and enjoy that. So what's funny is these topics are coming up in every meeting that we have with current clients, with potential clients, and the concerns are becoming more. I always get asked, hey, thanks, we appreciate you taking care of security on our end. What can I do to take care of it at home? So it is top of mind. The thing to be aware of nowadays is from a emerging threat perspective, it's no longer the days of I want to go after a specific business. Now it's you can become I want to be a hacker, or I want to have a data mining business in a box that you can buy on the dark web, and they're looking for vulnerabilities. And so I think what Earl said really hits the nail on the head, which is being proactive, taking the time to understand, don't buy free solutions or don't acquire free solutions. Make sure that you're protected, whether it's home, whether it is your business.
And Earl, there's threats on all fronts, whether it's healthcare or finance, there's phishing scams. Really, we have to be concerned about everything, but at the same time, we can't live in this high state of anxiety. So it's really a difficult situation right now, I feel.
Yeah, and our intent is never to instill fear in the populace, right? Our intent is to educate and provide tools. You mentioned something important, Christine, and that is that we are seeing a significant uptick in threats that are specifically targeted towards the healthcare and financial sector industries in 2020. It's been interesting to kind of watch the evolution of cyber threats this year. And I wouldn't, we don't want to instill panic in anybody. We don't want anybody to be overly anxious about this. But it is important to be aware. It's important to be educated. It's important to understand. It's important to keep an eye out for it. The cyber threats are evolving. They are improving. We're seeing more and more cyber criminals that their attempts, particularly spear phishing attempts and things like that, are becoming less and less recognizable. They're more refined. And so you've just really got to, if the email doesn't quite add up, or the ad you're seeing on a website doesn't quite add up, if there's just something that's maybe a little off, and we can talk about all the specifics at a later date, but just don't interact. And look, if you're not expecting an attachment or a link in an email, don't click on it, don't open it. You just have to be really careful with all those kinds of things.
And we're talking about this on a personal front, also on a business front. So Travis, there are some things that we can do, even something as simple as changing our password, making sure it's not a password that's easy to guess. Maybe even a computer-generated password is a better idea. And also as far as business and larger tech data issues where you're worried about security, something else that I've seen that you've recommended is not to go for some cheap solution, that it's really worthy of some investment.
Yep, it really is. Some basic policies that anybody can put in place is change passwords, right? Just set a reminder on your phone, change your passwords every 90 days, whether it be for business or for personal, just do it. Don't use the same passwords across all of your accounts that you use, because you could potentially open a Pandora's box. And then just spend a few extra dollars to make sure that you're secure on your computers with a good antivirus solution, with a good mobile device solution for your cell phones. There are lots of password managers that you can utilize out there. Those are basic things that don't cost much, if any money at all, that anybody can do. And you can rest a little bit easier knowing that at least you're taking those efforts, because those are really, that's the lowest hanging fruit.
And Earl, I'm curious, if you're a small business owner, or maybe you're thinking about starting a business, if you are in a situation where there's a lot more at stake, if you have a security breach, if there's something that goes wrong as far as data and your business, what do you recommend?
Yeah, very good question. And first of all, I think my first recommendation is business leaders need to be realistic now about what cyber threats are out there, and they need to budget for it. A lot of businesses, it's an afterthought, and they're trying to scramble together, whatever funds they can to try and hodgepodge some sort of solution together. And honestly, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for getting breached. And so just first of all, understand it, know it, plan for it, budget for it. Christine, I'm sorry, I forget your question. I hope that answered it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that as small business owners, really individuals, households, even if you have a larger business, Nexus IT, you guys can help walk us through these issues, correct?
Absolutely. That's what we do day in and day out for businesses. If you're running a business and you are not a cyber professional yourself, you need to engage with cyber professionals. That you need to, in today's world, you have to be actively monitoring and maintaining your security posture. If you're not, at some point you will be breached. There's just no doubt about it anymore.
And Travis, what's the best way to contact Nexus IT? What can we do to get more information and continue this conversation?
Yep. Call us anytime at 435-487-9099. Somebody will answer 24/7, 365. You can also visit us on the web at nexusitc.net. It's more expensive to be reactive than it is to be proactive.
Those are great final words. Thank you so much, Travis and Earl, for joining us today. Definitely more expensive to be reactive than proactive. So definitely thankful that you are here today. Always give us great tips for technology and more. And we're grateful that Nexus IT can be here for us. We'll be back with more on this Business Wednesday right after this.